Hello everybody, this is the Florida Wildflower Foundation, here to talk about milkweed, and in particular we have Asclepias perennis, swamp milkweed. This one is in a pot. In this landscape here in Central Florida, in St. Petersburg to be exact, we just don't seem to have the wet areas of the yard that are required for this particular milkweed. So putting it in a pot with no drainage has actually been really good for it. It doesn't seem to mind that at all. And we have it paired with Browne's Savory, which is a mint. And it has tiny little flowers. You can just barely see one right here. There you go. And we'll talk a little bit more about these in just a second, but they pair very well because they both really need that moist soil pretty much all the time. So there are 21 native milkweed species in Florida and 3 native species that people will normally find in cultivation in landscapes. This is a great one. It's smaller in stature. It's a shorter bushy plant. It grows to about 2 feet. Summer flower heads are small with white to light pink flowers. You can get a sense of that here. And they're just real dainty. Bright green leaves are lance-shaped, and it can adapt to shady locations. This one's in full sun and is doing fairly well. Queen and soldier butterflies also use native milkweed, so not just monarchs. They use them as host plants for their caterpillars. Pipevines, spicebush, and eastern swallowtails rely on them for nectar, and many other butterflies and bees, including native sweat bees, leafcutter bees, and yellow-faced bees, they all need milkweed's pollen and nectar. So you'll see a lot of different pollinators all through your milkweed if you plant it in your yard or make a little pollinator pot like we have here. It does have a toxic milky sap. That's where it gets its name, milkweed. The monarch caterpillars can handle it, but it's extremely harmful if you should get it in your eyes. So just be really careful about that when you're trimming. This is a defense mechanism that protects them from birds, but a large percentage of caterpillars may be consumed by paper wasps or other predators in your landscape. This is totally natural. It allows for basically survival of the fittest, to propagate the species, and those that are fittest remain strong enough to migrate to warmer wintering grounds too. So there are 21 Florida native milkweed species native to Florida, and this is one that grows really well in a landscape. So Browne Savory, let's talk about this mint. It's also known as St. John's mint and Creeping Charlie, and you can see it's creeping out of this container. So it's got a nice kind of weeping effect. If planted in the ground, it will spread and create a mat if it's kept in a wet area. So it's found along lake edges and in freshwater wetlands, floodplain forests, and well-disturbed sites throughout much of the southeast. And its tiny flowers bloom from spring to fall, and I'll tell you, there's not that many on here right now, but just a few weeks ago, it was just covered, and the bees were all over this Browne Savory. It attracts a lot of really small pollinators, which makes sense because of the small little flowers that it has. What I like to use it for is to make tea and add mint flavor to a salad or other dish. So this is an edible, and give it a try, especially just flavoring up some tea. It's great. So if you're interested in creating a pollinator pot like this, again, just pick a pot that doesn't have any drainage or has very little drainage. Keep it wet, keep it moist, mainly with rainwater, and you're good to go. You've got a pollinator pot for monarchs and many other pollinators here with swamp milkweed, Asclepias perennis, and Browne Savory.